Let's achieve as much as we can in the remaining time. Uh, we are going to divide this in two parts. One, we will, in the second part, we will talk about some of the specific questions related to particular topics that you guys have been asking, or if you have questions. And in third case, um, I will bring few things myself, either to describe them to you or to give you some questions to work on them so that you can improve certain aspects of language, in particular grammar, in a better way. So uh, we may not be able to do all of them every day, but we will definitely try to do as much as we can. Um, but in the first part, we would still want to hear something from you, in the sense that if you have any questions directly, or you want me to address them in certain way, if you let me know, you can unmute yourself, or we can unmute you, and you can talk about them. That is one. The second thing is we have some questions in the forum that we will address, and then we will go to the third part. So anybody wants to say anything or ask anything quickly? Just unmute yourself and please speak if you want to say anything. Hope everybody can hear me clearly. Aishwarya, meanwhile, you start putting questions from the forum. How many?
Sure.
Do you have a lot of questions in the forum?
Sir, around 10, sir. Around 10 questions from this.
Okay, just try putting in some questions and we will see. I see something. Oh, okay. Some people are. Govind is posting a question. What is the question, Govind? So, he was a man of 100 words now and passed his old friends like a stranger. I am unable to figure out why this is a simple sentence. I'm unable to figure out why this is a simple sentence, independent clause. Why is this true? Wait. He was a man of 100 words now and passed his old friends like a stranger. Okay. So what is the question? Why is it in? Okay, Govind, I am coming to this part. I'm going to describe that these things when I am talking about sentences and adjectival clauses and other things that Professor Chaudhary has explained to you. I'm going to talk about that in a minute. So just hang on for that for a moment. Both the grey cat and the ginger paws and the sandy dog with the black patches were running towards the green. She has a quick temper, but a good heart. Why is this not a simple sentence? Okay. Uh, Shayantan, just hang on to this question also. Just let me, I'm coming to them in a moment, one after the other. Oh, the gray running towards the green Muskova walks by the river. Is it a simple sentence? Okay. So Aishwarya, you are putting these questions, right? How he was a man of 100. Okay. Yes, you have put
No.
some. Govind has put some. So basically,
Yes,
most
sir.
of these sentences are about simple sentence, clause, and all these things, right? Am I right, Aishwarya?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So let me say a few things, guys, and that will sort them out, and we will answer these questions carefully. You see, let me talk about that from the context. Uh, Ramesh is celebrating his promotion in a lavish way. Okay. Which he has been looking forward to for years now. Yeah. Which he has been looking forward to years now. Okay. All right. Now, the adjectival clause is yes. So I don't know where to start, but let me start with first Shanthan Nandi's question, and that will start giving us some headway, and we will talk. Uh, Unable to figure out why is this a simple sentence. Okay, even before that, okay. Now there are a couple of things that we need to understand to resolve these questions. I have gone through this whole thing, and I understand the problem. Uh, hope this discussion will help you. You see, first of all, look at this sentence in the chat box that you have. He was a man of 100 worries now and passed his old friends like a stranger. Your question is, I'm unable to figure out why this is a simple sentence, independent clause. This is a simple sentence because of the following reasons. And this is why I think we need to understand what we mean by a simple sentence. Okay. What Professor Chaudhary is doing in three videos roughly. What those videos are, Aishwarya? I think there are three
Clause
videos which are talking about clause analysis 1,
analysis.
clause analysis 2, and clause analysis 3. In these three, he is trying to give you a different. He's trying to give you an understanding and a sense of a sentence. I have looked at those things in the beginning of one of. Okay, guys, wait. Shreyans and all others, wait before you post it here. I am unable to read all of them. So Joe buys a cup of coffee from the canteen every day. Okay, hold on to this, and let me first say a few things. I will try not to make these longer so that I can answer your questions properly. You see, what is a sentence? A sentence has a subject and a predicate. Okay, and a predicate, a sentence is largely divided only in two parts, a subject and a predicate. So let's look at the last sentence that I have on the screen here. Joe buys a cup of coffee from the canteen every day. Okay, I'm taking this sentence that Shreyans has posted here. So please take a look at this sentence. Okay, and it will help me not to make a sentence of my own. So it will help you. So if we look at this sentence, what is the subject in this sentence and what is a predicate in this sentence? So if you see, Joe is the subject of the sentence, in subject of this English sentence. Everything else buys a cup of coffee from the canteen every day. Hear me out carefully, guys, and then we will get to other examples. And please take a note if you would like to, but I'm putting it up here, and I am also I will also try to write few things in the chat box. So buys a cup of coffee from the canteen every day. The whole thing, other than Joe, is predicate. Now, this is just to make two parts of the sentence. Now, what I want you to know is what is a predicate? The main component of a predicate is a verb. In this case, buy is the verb. Okay? Why do I say it's the main component of the verb, of the predicate? Because everything else within this predicate is about the verb. So, if you look at it carefully, what is a cup of tea? A, a cup of coffee is something that Joe buys. So, buy being a transitive verb needs an object, and a cup of coffee is the object of this verb buy. So, it is the verb buy that decides whether it needs an object or not. Since it's a transitive verb, it will need an object, and a cup of coffee is the object of this verb buy. That's how a cup of coffee is connected directly with buy. Then you have another part of the sentence, which is from the canteen. This part, this is a prepositional phrase, from the canteen. The canteen is a noun phrase, and from the canteen together makes this thing a prepositional phrase. So from the canteen is sort of an adverb, is a prepositional phrase. It tells you buying from where. So it talks about the location of buying. So this is a prepositional phrase. This is like an adverb, but it also talks about the verb buying, which is from where. What is the location of purchase of the coffee? That is from the canteen. Therefore, it's an adverb, and it's a prepositional phrase which functions like an adverb. And take a note, please, all prepositional phrases in a predicate functions like will function as an adverb. Every day is another adverb, which is so from the canteen tells you about location, and every day tells you about frequency. So without fail, John buys a cup of coffee from the canteen every day. So this is how different parts of the sentence are connected with one another. So buys a cup of coffee from the canteen every day is part of the predicate, and Joe is out of the predicate, separate from the predicate, which is the subject. What connects the two, that is the subject and the predicate, is the agreement that Joe, being third person singular noun, has some sort of reflection on the predicate in terms of third person singularity. And that feature, which we know as agreement, is sometimes visible and sometimes not visible, connects the two parts of an English sentence. This is a simple understanding of a sentence. You can ask me a question, but hold on here, please. It can be as long as we want this sentence to become. You can see here, this sentence could have ended here, Joe buys a cup of coffee. That's a good enough sentence for the structure of a sentence. From the canteen is a phrase which gives us additional information about the location of purchase, and every day is a phrase which gives us additional information about the frequency of the purchase. So this is the structure of a sentence. What happens now? So this is what Professor Chaudhary in his lecture calls independent clause. I have gone through his materials, and at one point he mentions a sentence must have a clause. A, a, a clause is an important thing for a sentence for him. What he means is a whole sentence is an independent clause. Therefore, he said it is important for a sentence to have a clause. And there is no subordinate clause or any other type of clause in this sentence. So this is an example of an independent clause according to his classification of things in the sentence. I hope this much is clear to everybody. Now, is there okay? Since I have started the second or third part of this thing, is there any question from anybody about whatever I have said so far? Can we have a can I get your response from? Can I get any response from you? Is there any question so far on the basis of what I have described to you about a sentence? Then I will move to what he means by a subordinate clause and what he means by an adjectival clause and an adverbial clause. And my goal is to fix these 3-4 parts that he is describing because there are a lot of questions, and most of the questions that you are asking are about those things. So no questions so far, Govind. Thanks. So is the notion of subject and predicate, hopefully, what I'm asking you is, hopefully, notion of subject and predicate is clear to you. And also, within a predicate, what should be clear to you is verb is the most important part. And remember, since this is an independent clause, what we need to understand, and you can see it from this sentence, that every sentence, which is an independent clause, without a subordinate clause, will have only one verb. And here, by one verb, we mean one verb that agrees with the subject of a sentence, of the sentence. One verb that agrees with the subject of the sentence. So, in one sentence, that is one independent clause, only one subject and only one verb. That's an important, that's the part we need to understand.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, go ahead.
So
Shreyans.
how can this entire sentence be independent clause? Because Joe buys a cup of coffee,
Uh,
that part is necessary, and from the canteen is an adjunct, right? We
this
can
is an
remove
adjunct.
them.
Correct. No, we can remove them, but an adjunct can be part of an independent clause. This is how it is an independent clause. So the meaning of independent clause will become a little bit clearer to you when I am going to talk about subordinate clause. Give me a moment, Shreyans. Okay, it will become clearer
So,
to you.
so you've said from the canteen and every day. Are these two different adjuncts or just one adjunct?
No, two different adjuncts, Mehak. Two different adjuncts. One talks about the location of purchase, and the other talks about the frequency of purchase. Two independent. And
In that case,
as
this
So,
Shreyans was asking, hold on. And as Shreyans was asking, they are adverbs. They are not adjuncts by definition mean they are not required. But we need to understand, Mehak and Shreyans and everybody else, when we say not required, we need to understand something. By not required, we mean not required essentially to make a sentence grammatical. We may still need these things to provide more information. So I can say John buys a cup of coffee from the the suppose a campus has 5 different canteens. We can say from the railway canteen every day in the afternoon with his friends. We can add as many adjuncts as possible depending upon the kind of information we want to give. So in a sense, they are not required because sentence is complete. Joe buys a cup of coffee. Why is a sentence complete? The sentence has a subject,
and the sentence has a verb and sentence has an object. It's complete sentence. Why object? Because the verb is a transitive verb. Sentence is complete. So Joe buys a cup of coffee is also an independent clause, and along with these two, or no matter how many more adjuncts we want, the sentence is still a simple sentence. Still an independent clause, what Professor Chaudhary means. Is that clear, Mehak? Shreyans? Is this making sense to you? So
Yes,
we
sir.
can say things, yeah, we can say things like John buys a cup of coffee from the railway canteen every day in the evening with his friends. And you can make it as long as possible. You can add as many adjuncts as possible. Won't make any difference to the structure of a sentence, whether you add them or you don't add them. It still remains
Sir,
a
then
simple sentence. So clause. So last point, my about simple sentence or an independent clause is adjuncts. The presence of adjuncts or presence of adverbs do not make a sentence anything else. It still remains a simple sentence. Go ahead.
sir, then in that case, this sentence will have three clauses, right?
No.
One is
The
Joe buys a cup of coffee.
No, Shreyans. This sentence has just one clause, which is independent clause. In Professor Chaudhary's terminology, this is still an independent clause. No subordinate clause in that. And we are saying those are phrases, those are different adverbs, different prepositional phrases, but those are not clauses. And I will tell you about clause more. Then it will be more become
Okay.
more clear. So let
As
me.
the sentence have only one sorry for cutting you.
Yeah,
Sentence have only one subject and one verb. That's why we are considering it as a complete one single clause, right?
correct. Absolutely correct. Correct. Now let me give you an example. Look at the chat box and let me give you an example of a subordinate clause, and then it will become clearer to you. Okay? Give me a moment. I have it's with me. What? Come here close. What are you asking? Is your meeting done? No, not yet. I'm finishing it up. When I'm done, I will call you. Okay? Just a moment. I'm just writing a sentence. I'm unable to find it. I'm writing a sentence in chat box. I know what I know the name of the Okay, can everybody see the sentence? I'm trying to make a simpler sentence.
Yes, sir.
The sentence is, I know what Joe means. Okay, now please look at this sentence carefully. What I is the subject of this sentence. Correct?
Yes, sir.
Now, everything else other than that, which is no. What was the sentence? Just a minute. I know what, okay, know what Joe means. This is predicate of the sentence. So can you tell me the verb of this sentence? The verb of this sentence is no. This is a transitive verb. And the object of this verb, like you had an object in the previous sentence, Joe buys a cup of coffee. A cup of coffee is a noun phrase. And the object of this sentence is what Joe means, which is a full sentence by itself. Now look at this. In this sentence, so what you see on the screen right now, what Joe means is subordinate clause. Subordinate clause is also known as embedded clause. Subordinate clause also means embedded clause. Why embedded clause? Now try understanding this thing. I'm trying to clarify these things so that all your questions that you have in mind will settle. And you will find answers to your questions yourself. One of my purpose in this course is to make you understand things and find answers to things, develop ability to find answers to questions related to sentences yourself. By that, I am not trying to say, don't ask me questions, but hopefully this will solve this issue. So the reason why we call a subordinate clause an embedded one is because the subordinate clause is not independent independent in its existence. It is dependent on the main clause in which it is embedded. It is embedded within the main clause, which Professor Chaudhary calls independent clause. So what Joe means is the object of the verb know. How is it embedded? It is embedded in the sense that it is the object of the verb know. And as an object, it is a full sentence. How is it a full sentence? Because that in that full sentence, Joe is the subject, and I know what Joe means is the verb of that independent clause. Sorry, if of that subordinate clause. So look at this sentence. I know what Joe means. In this small type of look sentence, this is not a simple sentence. This in Professor Chaudhary's term is a complex sentence because it has a main clause, an independent clause, and a subordinate or embedded clause within it. Are we okay with this now? Any questions here?
But the subordinate clause we have, what Joe means, in that
Go ahead.
we do not have a verb or
We have the verb. Means is the verb. Joe means. Means is the verb. There is a verb.
if we have to call it a proper sentence, it could be what does Joe means, right?
That is a different rule. That I will discuss you some other time. What does Joe mean is a question sentence. And you know, Shreyans, when these types of sentences come as subordinate clause, the auxiliary inversion doesn't take place. That I will describe some other time in some other video. Okay. Right now where I want your attention and everybody's attention is to understand what do we mean by an independent clause and what do we mean by a subordinate clause. What do we mean by a simple sentence and what we mean by a complex sentence. Only then you will be able to identify simple sentence, compound sentence, and complex sentence. And I'm going to describe those things to you. Are we okay with this sentence, subordinate clause?
So I have a question.
When
What is
other people are not asking, I am taking it as it is okay with you. feel free to ask a question. Go ahead, Mac.
So, what is the object? Is the object what Joe means? Like, subject is I, Joe
Yes.
is verb. So, object should be what should be the object? I mean,
Object is the whole sentence, what Joe means. You know, sometimes, Mac, I'll give you another sentence. Let me give you another sentence, not just one. I know that the capital of England is London. Get this sentence. Okay? I know that the capital of England is London. That the capital of England is London, the whole thing is the object of the verb know. Get it? Mahak?
so,
Is that okay?
yes, sir.
Okay. So it is, how is this the object? It's exactly like, see, I can also say, I know him, right? Or I know you. We can say this thing, right?
Yes, sir.
In this sentence, what is the object?
Him and you.
And him are the objects. Same way, whatever answer. So how do we know an object? We ask the question with the verb. We ask the question, know what? I know what? Whatever answers that question, the whole thing is the object of the verb. Got it? So in the previous sentence, when we say, when we have a sentence, I know that the capital of England is London, we can say, I know what? I know, what do I know? That the capital of England is London. The whole thing is a sentence, but it is an object of the verb know. And besides being an object, it is embedded as a sentence in the larger sentence. So it is a subordinate clause. Because it's a full sentence, it is a clause by itself.
So the object part is only subordinate clause.
Object part is only the subordinate clause. Correct. Correct. So, and subordinate clauses most of the time are going to be objects. I'm going to describe all these things to you. Take a note, please. And you don't have to, even if you have questions left with this, you can ask me again and I'll be happy to answer these questions. So what I am saying is, first, let's understand a simple sentence, independent clause. Then a complex sentence, subordinate clause. These two things. We should have clarity about these two things. Then a subordinate clause is same as relative clause. A relative clause can be a subordinate clause. Yes. A relative clause can be a subordinate clause. Correct. Yes, I'm coming to relative clause as well. I hope it's a huge topic, Govind, Shreyans, Mahak, and everybody. But I'll try to clarify them to you. And trust me, you will have clarity about all of them and you will not feel confused about these things. Now, let's try to understand what is a compound sentence. You understand now a simple sentence? What I want you to understand about a simple sentence is a simple sentence can be very simple, like sit. It cannot, this is also sit down. This is also a simple sentence. A simple sentence is as simple as I know you. This is also a simple sentence. And anytime when you have a sentence in the place of an object, you can have you have an embedded clause and you have a complex sentence. That's the difference between a simple sentence and a complex sentence. Now, I want to tell you very briefly about compound sentence. Some of you had given an example before. That was an example of a compound sentence. I am scrolling them on my screen. Give me a moment. Somebody had posted in the beginning a sentence. Just a moment. I am reaching there.
Ramesh is celebrating his promotion, which he has
No,
been looking forward
not
to.
that, not that. Just hold on. I'll get there. I'll bring there and talk to you. Yes, he was a man of 100 worries now. What is that? I think this is one of the sentences that Professor Chaudhary has used in one of the slides. He was a man of 100 worries now and passed his old friends like a stranger. This is a compound sentence. This is not a complex sentence. Look at this. This is a compound sentence. Why is this a compound sentence? A compound sentence will usually be the following. Two sentences connected with either and or a comma or any conjunction. Look at this sentence. If you have it on your screen, what I am going to do is I am going to post this thing again for you. Do you see this thing? He was a man of 100 worries. Now, until this point, you have a simple sentence. Because another sentence is connected with comma and passed his old friends like a stranger, it becomes a compound sentence. As a matter of coincidence, both the sentences have the same subject, he. He was the man of 100 worries and he passed his old friends like a stranger. You can also have two independent sentences with two independent subjects. He was a man of 100 worries and they passed his old friends, their old friends like a strangers. You can have any two simple sentence connected with comma or and that will make a sentence a compound sentence. So simply speaking, a compound sentence simply means two sentences or maybe three sentences or more sentences connected with one another without being embedded within each other, without having another sentence as the subordinate clause of the main sentence. Are we okay with this? So we are clarifying three things: simple sentence, compound sentence, and a complex sentence. Are we okay with these three things now? Or you have any questions? Govind, is this much clear? You are fine so far. Okay. Mehak, clear? Shreyans? I'm
Yes.
naming you guys because you guys were asking questions about that.
So,
And I'm assuming that other people are fine as well.
so there shouldn't be any subordinate clause in this sentence, compound sentence.
In compound sentence, if you have two sentences, one is not the subordinate of the other.
Like there shouldn't be any subordinate sentence, basically.
You see, yes, answer is yes. There is no subordinate clause in the compound sentence. But I'm little hesitant about that because a sentence can be, and bear with me while I'm saying that, a sentence can be a compound sentence as well as a complex sentence at the same time, where you have one part as complex sentence and second part added with and as another sentence. So a larger sentence can have both. But simple answer to your question is yes, you are right. Got it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now somebody has posted something. I don't know who posted it. Cherian. has posted it. So look, so let me talk about it. Only Rajam and Mani were still intact as far as Swaminathan was concerned. Okay, so what is the question in this in the independent clause here? Is the independent clause here only the Rajam and Mani were intact? Yes. Yes, Cherian. Only Rajam and Mani were still intact. This is independent clause. And the subordinate clause, as far as Swaminathan was concerned. No. As far as Swaminathan was concerned is not a subordinate clause here. Please understand. As far as Swaminathan was concerned is not the object of the verb. As far as Swaminathan was concerned, it is a clause because it is a sentence. Look at that. Swaminathan is the subject of the sentence. Was concerned is a verb type of thing. But this is an adverbial clause because you have as far as here. Do you see that? As far as, this is an adverbial clause. So in this independent clause, you have, in this sentence, you have an independent clause and an adverbial clause, not a subordinate clause. Because keep in mind, subordinate clause or embedded subordinate clause, if embedded, subordinate clause will be embedded clause and it will become an object of that verb, of the main verb. That is object of the verb of the main sentence, main clause, independent clause. Are we okay? Chariot? Clarified your thing?
What I understood is
Chariot?
because as far as was used, that is not a subordinate clause.
No, you see, all clauses beginning with although, though, as far as, whenever, the clauses with these things are markers of adverbial clauses. And by the definition, any adverb or adverbial element in nature cannot be the object. Get it, Cherian?
Yes.
Okay.
So
Now,
the sentence that is there, is that a complex sentence?
is this a complex sentence?
Oh,
Is that what you are asking? Is this a complex sentence?
yes.
Wait a minute. No, Govind. This sentence that Cherian had just put has two verbs in that. Look at this. Only Rajam and Mani were still intact. So were is the marker of tense or auxiliary verb in the independent sentence, and Swaminathan was concerned. This is the another one. So there are two different sentences there, but they are not subordinate clause. They are not embedded because I want to keep one definition intact. Independent subordinate clause has to be subordinate of something. Look at the word. There is a reason why it is called subordinate or embedded. It has to be subordinate of something. A subordinate clause or an embedded clause, which is embedded within something, has to be an object, because only when it becomes an object, it gets embedded in the main clause, that is matrix clause. That is the, in Professor Chaudhary's term, independent clause. Got it? And adverbial clauses, Cherian, give me a moment to answer your question conclusively, whether it makes a sentence complex or not. Give me some time to answer your question. It is definitely a compound sentence. Whether it becomes a complex sentence or not, I will tell you in some time. Okay.
Yes, sir. This was listed as a complex sentence in lecture 2.
It is listed as a complex sentence.
Yes.
It might be a complex sentence, but I will tell you something conclusively. Whatever I am telling you so far, I am ready to stand by that, and I want you to understand that way, and I want you to apply this understanding to the video and the lecture notes that you have. I have gone through all of them very carefully. Let me tell you that, and I don't find them factually incorrect. There is nothing factually incorrect in those things. It's just presented in some style which requires some clarity. That's all I am trying to add.
Thank you, sir.
RAS, yes, Kartika is making those videos of assignments, and she will be sending it to you. I think she has sent solutions so far. And Kartika here now? Kartika?
Yes, sir. I'll be
Okay.
sorting it out.
Okay, you will be making those videos, right? And Kartika, I have guys, hold on for a moment. I have looked at the email that you have sent me. The response that Shweta has created is correct response. Uh,
Okay, sir.
okay. So okay, guys. So far, now I want to go to. So I'm glad, Sherian, you asked a question about adverbial clause. I'm going to give you more examples of adverbial clause, but let me give me some time to talk about adjectival clause for a moment. In above sentence. So that's where the students looked bored. The teacher talked and talked. What do you want to ask about that sentence?
Punctuation, sir. I wanted to ask about
What do you want to ask? Tell me.
punctuation.
Punctuation. Okay.
Is
The
the
student looked
sentence
bored, comma, fine. The teacher. The sentence is?
correctly punctuated, right? Sir? Because we have two different.
Yeah. It's correctly punctuated. Yes. Correct. Your sentence is fine. Am I right, Kartika? Can you look at that chat box?
Yes, sir. Let me see.
The last sentence that Shreyans has posted. The students.
Look bored.
Are you getting bored, Shreyans?
Absolutely not. So my
Okay.
doubt was.
No. I am generally asking.
All right.
Go ahead. Your doubt was?
So there are two different sentences without connected, without conjunction. Right.
But there is a comma. But there is a
We
comma.
dropped the conjunction and added the comma.
Yes.
So
And
that
it's
should be a correct.
correct. It's an example of a compound sentence. Yes. Absolutely correct. You can drop the conjunction, use the comma. There are situations, Kartika has a video on that. If needed, we can talk more about it. There are situations where we cannot drop either punctuation or conjunctions, but those are very different things. Don't worry about them right now. As you have punctuated this sentence, this is perfectly fine. And
This is a question from practice assignment.
Okay.
It says it is not correctly punctuated.
Which Aishwarya, can you please look at that? This is correctly punctuated, and if there is a problem, please correct our things.
Sure, sir.
As far as Swaminathan was concerned, if not subordinate clause, Pawan, that is called adverbial clause. Adverbial clause, that's an adverb. It functions like an adverb, basically. Adverbial clause simply means It functions like an adverb. And now I was going to talk about adjectival clause, and Govind was asking about relative clauses. See, all relative clauses are like adjectival clauses because all relative clauses give you information about a particular noun. If you understand carefully, uh, it's been such a tiring day. It's been such a tiring day. So what is the question, Aresh, here? Before I go and talk about something else, is this correctly punctuated? It's been such a tiring day. Kartika, correctly punctuated? Kartika is not here. Oh, Kartika is there. Kartika?
Sir, sorry, there was some signal issue, therefore I had to log out and then again log in.
That's okay. Please look at the chat box. Aresh has a question. It's been such a tiring day. Is this correctly punctuated? It's should there be an apostrophe? Yes, with it. It's it.
I think because the sentence could be, it has been such a tiring day.
Huh?
So we drop the H and A and should put an apostrophe there.
Correct.
It
So
has
that's what
been
I'm
such a
asking. Yes.
Yes, if it
You
is, if it's a contraction, that is, if you can expand it as it is or it has, you can actually use an apostrophe in the contracted form.
Yes. So this should have this looks like a contracted form, and this should have an apostrophe.
Yes.
That's what I'm saying. Other than that, it is fine, Aresh. Sometimes when people want to add certain emphasis on a sentence like this, they add a sign of exclamation at the end of it instead of a full stop. But that will be a completely different intentionality embedded in that. Ramesh is celebrating his promotion in a lavish way. Okay, so what is the question here? Who is doing that? Avilakshay Mehta. Okay, doubt question. Okay. Ramesh is celebrating his promotion, which he has been looking forward to for years now in a celebrating his promotion. Okay, in a lavish way. Fine. Ramesh is celebrating his promotion in a lavish way. Yes, which he has been looking for. Yes, now. So what is the question? Avilakshay?
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Sir, in this question there are four options. Ramesh is celebrating his promotion. Ramesh is celebrating his promotion in a lavish way, and we have to choose which is the adjectival clause according to this sentence, which is quoted in
Okay.
single quotes.
Okay. The adjectival clause is which he has been looking forward to for years now. Not lavish way. Lavish way is not part of the adverbial clause. Which he has been looking forward to for years now. This much will be adverbial clause, adjectival clause. Kartika, do you see that? Aishwarya, do you see that?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
In a lavish way, it's not part of the adjectival clause.
Abhilaksha, did you
Sir,
get it?
why, sir? No, sir. But
Because
sir, why, sir?
what is the question? Why is about what?
So, why we are not including in a lavish way, sir?
Okay, that is because in a lavish way is part of the main clause. Ramesh is celebrating his promotion in a lavish way. Look at the main sentence that you have given. There is a comma before which, and there is a comma before in a lavish way. Do you see that in the sentence that you have given? So
Yes, sir.
Ramesh is celebrating his promotion in a lavish way is the main clause, is the independent clause, which he has been looking forward to for years now is the adjectival clause, which is also a relative clause. As I was going to tell you in one of the questions, in response to one of the questions by Govind, I was going to tell you this is a relative clause. Is it? Abhilaksha, did
Yes,
you
sir.
understand your answer to your question?
Yes, sir. Got it, sir.
Okay. Now, Govind, allow me to use this sentence to answer a few things here. Ramesh is celebrating his promotion. Look at this. Look at this sentence. Ramesh is celebrating his promotion, which he has been looking forward to. The whole sentence is a relative clause, and this whole relative clause is modifying, is also known as adjectival clause. And the reason why we call such a clause adjectival is because it works like an adjective, meaning it is used to describe a noun. Which noun is this clause describing in this sentence? Can you guys tell me? This clause is describing promotion, correct? So, which he has been looking forward to? What has he been looking forward to? He has been looking forward to his promotion, correct? So, promotion is the object of the verb in the main clause. Celebrating his promotion is the object of the verb, and the whole clause is modifying this noun. So a relative clause is known as a noun modifier, and since it adds additional information about a noun, it is called an adjective. Only adjectives describe a noun, therefore such clauses are called adjectival clauses. And this is not embedded. Remember, this is not embedded in this sentence, because for an embedding, the whole sentence has to become the object. In this case, this clause is modifying the object, describing the object. It's not an object by itself. So it's an adjectival clause. Got it, Govind? Okay, I think somebody wrote something else. How do we detect and quantify the adjuncts in this sentence? How do you detect? Very simple. Oh, you have a cherry and you are giving a sentence, right? The vase with a red flower on the table of the kitchen is one that broke. Is the one that broke. The vase with the red flower on the table in the kitchen. On the table, the vase with the red flower on the table in the kitchen. So what is the question here? How do we detect and I think it contains 3 adjuncts. Oh, you are talking about how to detect and quantify the adjuncts in the sentence. Yes. No, wait a minute. The base with the red flowers. On the base on the tabletop with the red flower
in the kitchen. Base in the kitchen. Yes, you are right. There are three. From the top of my head, I can say there are three adjuncts. The base, the vase with the red flowers. With the red flowers is one. On the table is second. In the kitchen is the third one. Correct. Good guys, you are becoming good now. Aren't relative clauses? Relative clause, Mrityunjay, relative clauses sometimes can be subordinate clause, but in this example, it was not a subordinate clause. Yes, you are right. Relative clauses sometimes, no, not relative clause. The vase with the red flowers on the table in the kitchen is the one that broke. The vase, yes, correct. These are Govind. This is called fragments of the sentence. Yes, these are the different phrases in the sentence. The vase is the one that broke. So the main clause in this, I'm coming to your question. Mrityunjay, again. Govind first. The base is the one that broke. Is the main clause. The vase is the one that broke. Is the main clause. That is the independent clause. That the one that broke is also a modifier. Okay. With the red flowers on the tabletop on the table in the kitchen. Yes, correct. How is of England the complement of the king? Wait a minute, Mehak, I will tell you that. I'll tell you about that. But first, let me answer.
So, sir, so all these three adjuncts with the red
Yes.
flowers on the table and in the kitchen, are
Right.
they still prepositional phrases?
Yes, they are prepositional phrases. Correct. As
Okay.
long as you have a preposition before the noun, that is a prepositional phrase.
And they are not adverbs here.
With the red
That-
flowers.
They are adverbs. I will tell you. That is the question which Mahak is asking. So let me answer both together. They are adverbs in the sense that if they are adjuncts, they are adverbs also, meaning they are not required in a sentence. However, if we want to add that information, we can very much provide them as additional information. And Mahak, yeah, go ahead. But somebody else.
So, but which verb these adverbs are qualifying?
Oh, no. Prepositional phrases as adjuncts do not have to qualify verbs only. This is why we are calling it adjuncts. Adjuncts have adverbial qualifications. So you are right that for something to be purely adverb, it needs to modify a verb. You are absolutely right about that. But we are calling it an adjunct. Okay? An adjunct as opposed to complement, and all adjuncts are adverbial. They are adverbial nature, meaning they are extra, additional. And they are adjuncts because they are not complements. And this is what Mahak is asking, that in a phrase like the King of England, uh, how is of England the complement of the king? Mahak, it is a complement because in a situation, of England is the only one that you need. For example, we can say, look at the difference between the two, and everybody, guys, please pay attention to this. We can say the vase with the red flowers on the table in the kitchen. We can change the position of these things. We can say the vase in the kitchen with the red flowers on the table. We can also say the vase on the table with the red flowers in the kitchen. We can change the order of these things. And adjuncts can be multiple. Complements can only be one. And you cannot change the position of a complement and an adjunct. So for example, Mahak, to answer your question, if you say the King of England, uh, let's say with his crown, let's put it this way, the King of England with his crown. We cannot say the king with his crown of England. Do you see that? So the king of England and king, there is an adjacency requirement between the two. They cannot be separated from one another. Therefore, of England, even though it's a prepositional phrase, is the complement of this, not an adjunct. I
So,
don't want to brush this aside. Is this making sense to you? Say yes or no, and I will explain it to you. Yes,
So-
ma'am. Go ahead.
like in lecture, you explained, you gave a sentence instead of a phrase first. So in sentence, complement, I thought meant that it's an object, a noun, but in phrase of England is not an object. So
That-
I'm confused.
I see that. See the confusion that Govind, I want your attention too on these things, because this is answering your things as well, and I'm coming to that. And there was one more person asking this similar question. Mrityunjay, your question was also almost similar, if I am right. So Mahek, first you, the confusion with complement adjuncts that are coming to you is because of verbs. See, the object is the complement of the verb. Okay? And even nouns can take complements at times. So, King of England, even though there is no verb, if of England is a complement, it is complement of the king as a noun. Get it? So
No.
for a complement, there is no requirement of a verb. However, verbs also take a complement where objects are the complements of the verbs. Okay?
So this object, the object is of England, which is qualifying the noun king.
Yes. But we don't want to call it an object. We want to call it a complement. Because object as a term is used only for object of the verb. If I have used somewhere, correct it now. Are you with me? You understand that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So that's what I want you to understand. There is a difference between an object and a complement. An object is the complement of the verb. So what we are saying is an object can also be a complement, but that will be complement of a verb. But even nouns can take complements, and in this case, your example is the one. However, your initial question was, how do we know this is a complement? The test is, it cannot be separated from the noun that it is complement of. Okay? And
Yes, sir.
there cannot be multiple complements in one phrase. So the other sentence that other people are asking, like Govind and others, with the red flowers, on the table, in the kitchen, all these things are adjuncts, because adjuncts can be multiple in one sentence. Complement cannot be or even one phrase. You can have multiple adjuncts in one phrase. You can have one noun like the vase here, and you can have multiple adjuncts with that. The vase with the red flowers, on the table, in the kitchen, from Delhi, for somebody. You can add as many adjuncts as you want, but only one complement. Get it?
Yes, sir.
Govind, is that clear?
Yes, sir, it's clear.
Okay. Is something about the adjectival clause clear?
Sir, regarding relative clauses and subordinate clauses.
Right.
So,
Okay. So
I mean,
I understand, Mrityunjay. So what happens with the relative clause is, see, usually relative clauses will modify a noun. Okay.
okay.
And in that case, it just has modifier qualification. I told you, give me some time to think about whether relative clause. I remember your question, whether relative clauses can be subordinate clause in the sense of embedded clause or not. I'll answer this question next time we meet. Okay.
So just one thing, I mean, is the essentiality of the clause is necessary for it to be a subordinate clause? Like I mean, it should be essential part of the sentence. Then only we can say that that is a subordinate clause.
Basically,
Like,
what you are asking is, and where I am not saying anything with clarity. I need
okay,
to clarify the distinction between a subordinate clause and embedded clause. So far, I have been telling you both of these terms mean the same thing. I need to see to what extent of embedding is required for a subordinate clause. I need to check that and answer that question so that
okay, okay.
it remains clear and forever with you. I don't want to answer something in a sloppy way. Okay, just
Yeah,
for
yeah.
your question aside, I don't want to say something.
Okay,
I remember the question and I will check it. If I find it before, I will send it to you through the forum, and if I don't, then we will definitely find it out for the next year.
okay,
But
sir. Thank you.
before that, what I want to know from you, and before we close, I know we are running out of time. Before I close, what I want to know is, do we have some, and I don't expect total clarity. I see a lot of people have gone. That is fine. What I want you to get from this exercise is, do we have clarity about independent clause and simple sentence, compound sentence, complex sentence, clauses, relative clause, adjectival clause, and adverbial clause? Do we have? Do you feel they make some sense now? Better sense now. If that is true, then what I have been doing is making sense. If not, then I will work a little harder to bring you more on that. And I'm not saying this is the end of it. We can discuss all these things again next time also with more clarity. There is absolutely no. Guys, I cannot
No,
hear.
I think this kind of exercise and this kind of discussion always adds to what we learn from the, I mean, lectures or, after seeing the slides. So I think it's very much beneficial to all those who join. And then after that, you go and then solve the questions and then again come back and have the discussion. This kind of exercise is always good. In my opinion, it has always, given
Sure.
me, I mean, yeah.
Sure. Good. So we will continue with this. We'll continue working on this. I know I know only some people will be interested in these kinds of discussions. These are very complex things about a sentence. But let me add another sentence or two about this type of exercise. And I'm glad that some of you have questions like these. You see, please keep in mind that our goal is to speak English properly. I am adding another thing. I want you to understand English properly. Once you understand what happens in a sentence and how it works, that is how a sentence construction works in our mind, then it is pretty clear for you to use this thing. And using something with understanding something with clarity is more important than just using something just like that. And which simply means that in order to develop confidence, and this is not for those who already speak English very well. This is also because we are doing these things also for those who are really at beginners level. Going to fluency through accuracy can only this method of going to fluency through accuracy gives you confidence. And I want you to gain confidence in whatever little or more you know. Whatever you know, you should know that well. This is the purpose of this is the purpose in which I want to build confidence about the structure and different parts of a structure of a sentence and the language. That's the purpose of this kind of discussion. I'll continue it with you about any aspect of English sentence, English language. that you want, just let us know as we sensed that this is making some problems in rounds and rounds. We needed to discuss that. I will discuss this. I know we need little more discussion on that. I know that very well, and I'm offering that to you. We will discuss this further. But if there are issues with certain videos or certain concepts, if you can send it to us, then it will be easier for me to work on those things and do some exercises with you on those aspects. Because on our part, we feel it's all fine. Wherever you have difficulty, you having difficulty is not a bad thing. And all I want from you is just let us know about your difficulty. We will solve that. I mean, we will explain that. All right, guys.
Thank you very much, sir. Actually, this session is very, very helpful in consolidating the concepts. One request, if I may ask, is there any common place that we all can go and just practice these things and come back with few more questions instead of everybody generating their own sentences? Is there any common place that you can suggest?
And what do you mean by common place, Govind?
For exercises, right? For example, let's say that there are a bunch of sentences at maybe in a website or somewhere.
We will create some more, okay? But what I can tell you for the time being, before we do more, is based on the practice assignments that we are sending you, you try to make more on your own. And if at all there is any difficulty, just give it to us. Send us just the idea that we need more clarity on this topic. I promise you, we will make together more exercises and give it to you.
All right, thank you.
Somebody is saying, Cherian, what are you saying? If possible, could we have 2 sessions a week? We are thinking about that, Cherian. Give us more time, because the English one is also running parallelly. So we have to work on English one as well. So we are thinking about having more sessions, for not just for you, but for English one also. We will get that. That will be, I know that will be useful, and we will come back on that as well. Okay, guys. So with that,
I think we can wind it up,
Karthika,
right?
you wanted to say something. Go ahead.
Oh, and I was saying it's time to wind up, so I will call it a day.
All right.
You can practice things on your own and get back to us next week. Also, probably we'll have this. We'll let you know. You can expect it in the form of an announcement, mail or message. So if you have doubts, please come prepared, so that get clarified in the next session. Okay, that's it. I hope there's nothing more. Well, if you have questions, do post the discussion forum. Okay, we are putting it right here. Yes.
Sri Balaji, Aishwarya.
Sir.
Aishwarya, could you please let them know?
Yeah, sure, sir. I'll inform you.
Bye bye, guys. Nice talking to you.
Bye, sir. Thank you.
Who is there, Sri Balaji? Who is there? Akshay?
Sir, I'll inform him, sir. I'll inform Sri Balaji.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.